Unit 2, Developing the UX Design. Lesson 1, Producing Wire Flow Designs. Introduction. The first activity we need to do in the design stage is to build user flows. User flows are basically flowcharts, task flows, or diagrams that illustrate how the users interact with the features and functions of your product. The terms task flows and flowcharts are often used interchangeably with each other. However, their differences lie in the level of detail and process they include. To understand it further, let's define each term one at a time. 1. Task flow, a linear diagram that shows the steps on how a user will complete a specific task. It is often used for planning optimal paths for task completion. 2. Flowchart, a more detailed task flow since it also shows user decisions on their journey with the system, and the reactive back-end processes they may trigger. If you use a hybrid of the aspects of task flow, flowchart, basic wireframe, and advanced screen flows, similar to what most UX designers do, you will have created a wire flow. Wire flows refer to a series of connected wireframes to document a user flow. It shows the user's multiple navigation paths in one diagram. In order to understand wire flows, you also have to know about wireframes. Wire flow is a combination of the terms wireframe and flowchart, and with that, the benefits of both techniques are combined in the wire flow as well. A wireframe forms a flowchart that presents all screens involved in a specific scenario using a wire flow diagram. Wireframing is a technique that allows designers and clients to work together on identifying the screen's content and functionality. But since wireframing is still the second activity of the design stage, we shall focus first on user flows and wire flows. Topic 1, Storyboarding. There are several techniques that can help us build the user flow, and one of these techniques is storyboarding. A storyboard presents a story by using images in panels sequenced chronologically to map out the main events. UX design makes use of storyboards to provide the designers, clients, and other stakeholders with more context and help them easily and quickly visualize the user journey. A storyboard usually has 3 components. 1. Scenario. This includes a clear short text description of the scenario and specifies the persona or role that corresponds to the scenario. Example: Vanessa, a sales associate who resides in Muntinlupa, is looking for a carpool ride going to her office in Makati. 2. Visuals. Each step in the sequence is represented visually by sketches, illustrations, or images that can either be low-fidelity drawings or high-fidelity artifacts. It must include important details such as the appearance of the user's environment, the user's quotes enclosed in speech bubbles, and a sketch of the screen the user is interacting with. 3. Corresponding captions. This contains a concise description of the user's actions, environments, emotional state, device, etc. It only supports the primary content of images, so it does not usually exceed 2 bullet points. Topic 2, User Journey Maps. Another technique that can help with building user flows is the creation of journey maps. A journey map is a common UX tool that can help you visualize the user's process in achieving a goal. While it comes in different formats, the journey map typically has 5 key components. Actor, persona or user who experiences the journey. Scenario and expectations, description of the situation, including the goals, needs and specific expectations of the actor. Journey phases, various stages in the journey that give structure to the information, actions, thoughts, emotions, in the journey map. Actions, mindsets, and emotions, the actor's behaviors, thoughts, and feelings for the whole duration of the journey which are mapped within each stage of the journey. Actions, narrative of the actual steps and behaviors the actor takes during a particular step. Mindsets, thoughts, questions, motivations, and information needs of the actor at various phases of the journey. Emotions, emotional ups and downs of the actor plotted in a single line across the journey phases. Opportunities, insights obtained from the journey mapping to help optimize user experience and gain knowledge on what needs to be done, who owns the change, what are the opportunities, and how to measure the improvements that will be implemented. Topic 2, User Journey Maps. Designing user journey maps using Figma. Topic 3. User personas. User personas are fictional representations of specific segments of a target audience. They are created to embody the characteristics, behaviors, needs, and goals of a group of users, providing a human-centered understanding of the potential users of a product, service, or system. User personas are valuable tools in UX, user experience, design, helping design teams empathize with and design for the diverse needs of their user base. Topic 4. Information architecture. Information architecture, IA, in UX design refers to the organization, structure, and labeling of content within a digital product or system. It involves designing the information and navigation in a way that makes it easy for users to understand, locate, and interact with the content. Information architecture plays a crucial role in creating intuitive and user-friendly experiences. Topic 5. User flow. A user flow is a series of steps that a user takes to accomplish a specific task or achieve a particular goal within a digital product or service. It is a visualization of the path a user follows as they navigate through the different screens, interactions, and decision points within a website, application, or other digital interface. User flows help designers and developers understand the user's journey and interactions with the product. They typically outline the sequence of actions a user takes, the choices they make, and the possible outcomes at each step. Topic 5. User flow. Designing user flow. Topic 6. Wire flows. A wire flow diagrams the flow of user experience through smaller screen representations. It makes use of arrows to connect specific components that users interact with, and wireframes to show what happens as a result of that interaction. It connects the dots between the different screens, represented as wireframes, and shows how users will interact with the product from start to finish. This can be especially helpful for designers and stakeholders in visualizing the overall user journey and identifying potential areas for improvement in both design and functionality. Topic 6. Wire flows. Designing wire flows using Figma. Lesson 2. Developing the wireframe design. Introduction. By now, you have the user flow for our UX design. The next thing to do now under the design stage is to make the wireframe. As mentioned in the previous topic, wireframes lay out content and functionality on a page while integrating the needs and journeys of the user. Developing the wireframe early on in the UX design process helps establish the basic structure of the page. There are two different types of wireframes. One hand-drawn sketch, made using paper and pen or marker. 2 digital wireframe, made using different free or paid tools. Both hand-drawn and digital wireframes are composed of basic fundamental shapes that represent key elements that you would see on a screen. This allows the wireframe to have a simple structure, which makes it easy to understand. You can start wireframing using a hand-drawn sketch to jot down your initial ideas. You can even do a second sketch just to explore more options of what works best to execute your ideas. Then, you can transfer your hand-drawn sketch to a digital wireframe to make it easier to share with the rest of the design team and allow collaboration in developing the design further. In this lesson, the wireframe that we will develop is a hand-drawn sketch, also known as low-fidelity sketches. Topic 1. Elements of a wireframe. Low-fidelity wireframes are simple, basic representations of a user interface, focusing on the structure and layout without incorporating detailed design elements. They serve as a quick and efficient way to outline the key components and interactions of a page or screen. Here are the common elements found in low-fidelity wireframes. 1. Boxes and shapes. Basic geometric shapes, such as rectangles and squares, represent different elements on the page, such as headers, navigation bars, content areas, and footers. 2. Line and arrows. Lines and arrows connect elements together to show the flow of information or user interactions. They may represent navigation paths, links, or user journeys. 3. Images and icons. Placeholder images or icons can be used to represent where actual visual elements, images, or icons will be placed in the final design. 4. Buttons. Simple shapes or rectangles mark the location and dimensions of buttons. Annotations may specify the action each button is meant to perform. 5 Navigation elements. Simplified depictions of navigation elements, such as menu bars, tabs, or breadcrumbs, display the layout and structure of the navigation system. Topic 2. Creating a low-fidelity wireframe. Low-fidelity wireframes. These are a quick and simple tangible representation of a product. It only aims to outline the flow of the product and test its usability and functionality, so it is not as visually refined as hi-fi prototypes. Pros: fast, easy, affordable, supports collaboration. Cons: most are not clickable, not as aesthetically pleasing as hi-fi prototypes, require imagination to understand functionality. Examples: sketches are the most basic form of prototypes that are usually free-form, pen and pencil drawings that show the outline of an initial idea. Sketching is most often done at the earliest stage of design when the team needs to discuss usability and project goals and come up with design ideas. Paper prototypes involve stencils and cardboard to make the product mock-up more substantial and details. Similar to sketches, it is also used during the earliest phase of the design process, although paper prototypes have a more defined structure. It can be the first step of prototyping or the second step after sketching. You can also use sticky notes or index cards to elaborate on simple sketches and show user flows and other on-screen elements. Click-through prototypes are the more advanced versions of lo-fi prototypes that show the elements on the screens of an app or pages of a website. It uses hotspots to connect the different screens or pages. Given that it is still a type of lo-fi prototype, click-through prototypes are also the simplest versions of interactive prototypes. Topic 2. Creating a low-fidelity wireframe. Designing UI low-fidelity sketching, hand sketch. Creating low-fidelity wireframe for mobile. Creating low-fidelity wireframe for tablet. Creating low-fidelity wireframe for desktop. Topic 3. Prototyping. After securing your client's approval of your lo-fi wireframe, the next thing to do is to turn the wireframe into a high-fidelity prototype through different software. Like wireframes, prototypes serve as a visual representation of the user's journey across your website/app. Moreover, prototypes aim to test and validate the flow of the design solution you developed, the interactions it contains, the user experience, usability, and the user interface. For these reasons, the prototype should already appear similar to the final design of the final output. Free prototyping tools. 1. InVision can be used for interaction design. 2. UX Pin for coded prototype. 3. Vector for creating fast low-fidelity prototypes. 4. Mockflow for a fast development process. 5. Just in Mind for prototype templates suitable for beginners. 6. Origami Studio for Android and iOS prototypes. 7. Figma for trendy and updated prototypes. 8. Webflow for complex layouts and animations. 9. Proto.io allows quick prototyping and real-time modifications. 10. Framer creates realistic animations. Lesson 3. Finalizing the UX design. Introduction. A well-designed UX is the key ingredient that makes a product appealing, engaging, and satisfying. If you want to see a well-designed UX at work, just think of your favorite website and reflect on what made you enjoy it. Or simply think of how convenient it is that you get to do a multitude of things with your smartphone. We all have to thank the UX designers for that. In this lesson, we will focus on the last 2 stages of the UX design process, testing and implementation. Topic 1. Testing. After designing the user experience, the next thing to do is test its usability and functionality. Just like research, testing is a crucial stage since it helps improve the original design and ensures that any changes made during the design phase are effective. Testing allows UX designers to identify and address problems or difficulties that may not have been anticipated in the design phase, both before and after the product is launched. When testing, make sure to conduct it with real users who are outside your family, friend group, and development team to avoid any biases. Testing can be conducted through the following methods. 1. Use of prototypes. Prototypes help demonstrate the product to the users. You can do this repeatedly until you find a simple solution to the problem. 2. Usability testing. When conducted in person, usability testing involves a session where a participant from your target audience uses your product while you observe. The goal is to find any problems with the interface and understand why they happen. This type of testing is advantageous because you can see the user's actual actions, not just their opinions. When training in UX design, it's important to watch the user without interfering. Some designers ask participants to talk through their actions out loud, which gives valuable insights into their thoughts while using the product. O. Simple observations. O. Questionnaires. O. Surveys. O. Interviews. Once you have conducted this testing, analyze your findings, summarize your results, then put them in a report. This will be your guide as you apply changes to your design before moving on to the implementation stage. 3. Remote user testing. Remote user testing is an option when the UX design team can't meet users in person. Participants, facilitators, and observers connect online. However, this method may provide less accurate results compared to face-to-face interaction. The benefit is that users can test the product in their familiar environment, reducing any potential impact from visiting a new place. 4. A/B testing. A/B testing, also known as split testing, compares two versions to see which one performs better. It helps make focused changes for user actions. You need statistical knowledge to design the test and interpret results. Experience is important in selecting valuable targets for testing. Oh, note, use A/B testing when you have a product to improve, not during the design phase. Also, remember that it doesn't explain why one version is better. Qualitative testing is necessary for that. Topic 2. Finalizing wireframe and design flow of the selected user experience media. Great! You have now developed the wireframe and established the design flow of your selected UX media. The next thing you need to do now is finalize them before submitting to the client. Here's how to effectively finalize your wireframe and design flow. 1. Incorporate client feedback. Start by integrating any feedback or suggestions from the client into your final UX wireframe and design flow. This ensures that the project aligns with their expectations and requirements. 2. Simulate dynamics. If applicable, bring your design to life by simulating animations or effects using motion graphics software. This step helps to convey the interactive aspects of your design. Once completed, submit this for evaluation. 3. Prototype testing. Utilize simple coding tools to test the approved design flow. This practical approach allows you to identify and address any usability issues early on. Submit the prototype for further evaluation. 4. Compile and present. Organize all your finalized designs and prepare them for presentation. Ensure that every element is polished and reflects the client's vision. Submit your work to the client or supervisor for the final approval.